Welcome to At the Table with D. Monique podcast. Grab a snack, pull up a chair, and listen up.
Hello. Welcome back to At the Table with D. Monique. Here we have real conversations with real people who are sharing their real life stories. I'm your host, D. Monique, and our special guest today is Derrick Pinkney. Hey, Derrick.
What's up, man? What's going on, everybody? What's going on, D. Monique?
Everything is going well. I'm so happy to have this opportunity to speak with you today.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I just want to take a moment and thank everybody for following this podcast. Derrick, I've been doing this podcast for about 2-3 months now, and I'm getting a lot of great feedback. And so I think it's really important when people are taking the time to listen to you, give, feedback. It's important to show thanks to them. So thank you guys for listening. And don't forget, like the podcast, follow the podcast, share the podcast, because I feel like we have really good information and you don't want to keep it all to yourself. So share it with those who you care about. Okay. And Derrick, I was asking you before the podcast, you got your snack. Why? Because this is one of my favorite parts of the podcast is to have snack time. So before we get into snack time, we do need to say our grace because my great grandmother, Lucille, will not have it any other way.
Understood.
Okay?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
All right. So if you would bow your head with me and Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for this food that we are about to receive. We ask that it brings nourishment to our bodies. We thank you for this and all other blessings in your son Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
So Derrick, you are our guest.
Yes, ma'am.
So share with us, what are you snacking on today?
So what I'm snacking on right now is a lean green machine smoothie from the Smoothie King. So the reason why this is one of my favorites is because as a lot of the greens, and I love pineapples and mango, and I hit it with a little B12 for energy. So it's something that I'll catch in between in the middle of the day and things of that nature. So, when I'm ready to get that afternoon going, this is that quick go-to, something quick, something smooth, something healthy, So, yep, that's my snack for the day.
Oh, that's good. And you know what? I have not been to Smoothie King in a long time, so I'll have to go and check that out.
Oh man, it's delicious, I'm telling you.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll tell you guys what I'm snacking on because we are talking about weight loss today with Derrick. And I couldn't come on here with some of my usual snacks, right? So I chose this thing that I'm choosing is also going to be like a first time reaction because I've never tried it before. So it is this kimchi. Yes, and it's by the brand Cleveland. Quick little story is a long time ago I had an opportunity to work in Korea. And one of the dishes that they serve is kimchi. Now, I had a lot of friends who really liked the kimchi, but I could never get over the smell, right? Yeah. And once I had an opportunity to go to the Korean Rice Festival and we learned to make kimchi, and I realized what was giving it that aroma was that they use fish egg oil in it.
Right.
And so that's right. But this version of kimchi, as the listeners who've been following for a while know, I'm vegan. So this version is vegan and it's also gluten-free. So I have a friend of mine who just realized that they have a gluten allergy. So guess what? She can now eat something like this. It has garlic, greens, and spicy red pepper. And let me tell you, the garlic is coming through. Okay?
Yeah, I can imagine.
And so I put a little bit in a bowl, and I won't lie, I am a little bit nervous just because I remember how it was, then in Korea. But I chose this because it has probiotics, and we know that probiotics are good for gut health. So here goes nothing, Derrick.
All right, let's see.
Mama seen, mama saw, with my
Hey, do what you gotta do.
All right. Okay, here we go. is really good. It is not. It is not what I thought. It is really good. Now I see why people were eating it when I was in Korea, but it was just the smell I couldn't get over.
Mm-hmm. I have some friends that make it. It's really good.
This is good. Okay. And it got a nice spice to it. Let me get a little bit of water to clear my palate. I definitely could eat some more of this, but I don't think, normally I said let's eat during the podcast, but that has a lot of crunch to it. So I think I'll save the rest for later. Yeah, but that is good. Everything that I thought has gone out the window. I know I like kimchi. I told you guys our guest today is Derrick, and I'll just tell you a little bit about how I know Derrick. I met him about 4 or 5 years ago. We were both members of a local gym here in Augusta, Georgia. Now Derrick has his own personal training business. What I can tell you about Derrick is he is a stand-up guy. He's a dedicated husband to his wife. He is a loving father to his children. And anybody that knows him respects him just because he carries himself with such dignity. And I asked Derrick to come on here because the fit guy that you see in front of us, he wasn't always, this fit. He has a good story, and I don't know all the details of his story, but I've seen the pictures, and he has had a great transformation. So I wanted him to come on here, tell you how he went from a client to now the trainer. So Derrick, again, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. Again, I appreciate it being on here. I'm excited, nervous, but hey, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. But yes, I really appreciate you having me on. Thank you for your compliments earlier. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. And Derrick, there's no need to feel nervous because one, everything that you said I already know is going to be the truth because that's how I know you as a truthful guy, like I said, a stand-up guy. And it's me.
Hey, I know that's right. All right.
It's me.
Yes, ma'am.
So, yeah, we're just going to talk about it. So, I know earlier today you were out with your kids. You guys went to the mall.
Right. We did. But,
yeah. What were you shopping for?
Well, of course, as you know, kids grow and they moving and growing so fast. So had to make sure we just got everything back in line for them. Got them some jeans and some stuff we needed, some stuff we didn't need. Of course, you know how that goes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mom and Dad, we always step out and get this one thing you need and 10 things you don't. So at the end of the day, yeah, that's what we did today, and just kind of came home and now kind of just in relaxed mode and getting ready for tomorrow. Got to do it all, get it all going again. So.
Okay. And if you don't mind sharing with us, how old are you?
I am 43 years old. I'll be 44 June 5th of this year.
Yeah, that's right, because our birthdays are, yours is the day before mine.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, yours is 6. I do remember that part, yeah. So.
Yeah. So, how old were you when you started working out?
I've been athletic all my life. I worked out, I played football and basketball and things of that nature. But to get to, when I got to this point, I started when I was about 37, just really going hard, 36, 37.
Okay.
And so it's been a journey ever since then.
So you said you were athletic. What sports did you play?
I played basketball, I played football. And that was pretty much it. When I started my job, I started getting into golf, stuff like that. But more so, the moving and shaking came with basketball and football. When I in high school and through recreation basketball and even coaching basketball up to now. Just still being athletically inclined because as compliance to that. So, yeah.
Okay, so you coach like a rec team?
I coach a YMCA team, actually, a 15U team, and really that's kind of like a release for me, you know what I'm saying, from getting away from work and getting away from the training a little bit. It gives me a chance to kind of do what my passion really is, and that's just like being in the community with the kids. And so I coach this South Augusta team here, and of course, South Augusta, is a bit different. So when we get these kids and give them an opportunity to do something different, that's what I really love and enjoy doing. So, it's just one of those things where I have to, just take pride in doing that part, just to bring that part to outside the community. So.
Oh, that's awesome. Does your son play for your team?
He does. He does. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, Lord. He's
And how old is he now? Like,
he's 12 years old. He'll be 13 March 20. I mean May 26th of this year. So,
wow.
right.
Yeah. And you have two other kids,
I
right?
do. I do. I have a daughter that's 15 years old, Sierra, and I have an older son that's 22. He'll be 23 this year, Christian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a yeah, I remember your youngest son from the gym.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that kid
Ball of fire.
when yes.
Yeah. Ball of fire.
Yes.
I,
I'm sure he helps to keep you young.
Yes, yes, I'm saying, and honestly, if it wasn't, I mean, I would say if it wasn't for him, he's another part of the reason why I know I had to get on a journey, because I knew he was a handful. He was going to want to run and play and all of that, and I'm super competitive, so I couldn't let him beat me, So I'm like, I got to get out so I can run some. So. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's fun. Having children is one of the highlights of my life. So, enjoying watching them grow, and especially being able to coach him and watch my daughter grow, and my oldest now getting his wings, getting out there and being an adult. That's major to me.
Um, I think that's really special that not only do you get to do something that you're passionate about to help the youth, but you also get to do that with your son.
Yes, ma'am.
He gets to witness. He doesn't just get to not. I mean, he gets to witness and experience it,
Mm-hmm.
not just hear. Oh yeah, Dad goes to coach these kids. He gets to be a part of that. So I think that's a really special moment,
Most definitely.
and I think he'll never forget all those lessons that you teach him, verbally and non-verbally.
Most definitely, yeah, yeah. Those are the moments that I
Yeah.
really, really appreciate. He get to see that and understands why I'm the way that I am when it comes to things and being passionate about, what you do. So, yeah, I love that part. Now he knows when I'm coaching, I'm not dad though. So he it's so funny. He's like, Dad, no, not Dad. I got to treat you like everybody else. So that experience is even more enhanced by knowing that. You know what I'm saying? So he gets to see me
Mm-hmm.
as dad and as coach. So knowing that I care for my children, of course, but all of my kids, even my maid kids with the team. I love them all the same. So I want all of them to see, that hey, we can make a difference. What I'm saying, by putting people together. So yeah. So yes, to go back to what you said,
Yeah.
yes, I'm glad he does get to see that.
Yeah, I think that's really special. So Derek, do you remember what your heaviest weight was?
376 pounds. Yep,
Yeah.
yep, 376.
And what what do you think, you were really athletic. What do you think, helped you to get to that weight?
Oh, 376.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know exactly what happened. It was a time in life where I was working a couple of jobs, and to stay awake, it was just to eat whatever I could put my hands on, and late nights
Mm-hmm.
and eating Snicker bars and drinking sodas to try to stay awake. You know what I mean? When you're working, and it was a
Mm-hmm.
sit down job. My second job was a sit down job, and wasn't necessarily getting the proper sleep in between the two, and so that of course that's not healthy, not resting, and so just being always on the go, and again, being on the go, you don't get to eat much of your home cooking because you're always on the go, and so you're picking up
Mm-hmm.
the McDonald's and the Burger Kings and the Applebee's and and all that stuff, and you're definitely not doing the things or eating the things that you're supposed to eat. So at that point, that's what I was doing, and I just saw myself progressing and progressing and progressing, and I got up to 376 pounds.
I think what you said, a lot of people can understand that. When you are trying to provide for your family,
Mm-hmm.
um, you can, work, 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 and sometimes you forget about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, if you go to some of those restaurants and you're eating something, you're like, oh, okay, I got some, some of this and some of that.
Mm-hmm.
Those calories, when you're eating outside of your home, you have no control of it,
That's right.
especially when you have things that have sauce on it. You don't know what's in it. And so it is so easy.
Yeah.
It's so easy to pick up those pounds. So I think we all can understand that. I know that has happened to me.
Oh, of course, it's happened to
You
all of
know,
us.
yeah. Like I used to, when I was in college, I used to go to a certain grocery store because they had a great deli,
Uh-huh.
right? And I'm like, oh yeah, I'll get a sandwich. And you don't realize how many calories,
Most
right,
definitely.
are in those. Yeah. And then I couldn't just get the sandwich,
You
Derek,
got to get the chips.
right?
You got to get the
I gotta get the
yeah.
chips.
Hey, I know it. You got to get that grape soda. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. And before you know it, it just adds up and it adds up
Mm-hmm.
and it adds up. And sometimes you can eat and you don't think about it, especially if you work at a place where everybody's always bringing in snacks.
Yep. Oh yeah. Been
Okay.
there too.
You're like, oh yeah, I'll have some of your cookies. Oh yeah, I have some brownies. And you don't think about
Right.
it.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially on my
So
job, it's all of the bad stuff is already ready for you. So at that point, you know what I'm saying,
always.
the bacon, the all of the bad stuff is already ready for you. If I had to wanted to eat healthy, I had to go look for it and say, I got to cut it up. I got to do this. I got to do that. And so why do that at
Mhm.
that point? You know, I might as well just get this sausage sandwich and keep it moving. You know what I mean? So it's just, that's just the mentality of it all. Just trying to eat quick and not necessarily thinking about what you're taking
Yes. Now, Derek, I like to talk about
in.
food. And listen, y'all, I have not been vegan all my little life, okay?
Okay.
I used to eat meat before that. And so when you said sausage, I automatically thought about Roger Wood.
What? Boy, you ain't gonna tell me nothing about a Roger Wood. No, buddy. Yes, yes. Some peppers and onions.
Yes, on John Durst
Boy, you
bread.
better tell them something. You better tell them something. I don't think they understand about that John Durst, that Captain John Durst. Yes,
Yes.
yes. You ain't gotta tell me
Yeah.
with the bread stick to
Yeah.
the roof of your mouth. So you probably done
Yes.
took in 2,000 calories just that one sausage all alone. Yeah.
Yes. And you don't realize it because one, it tastes so good, right? And you're
Uh-huh.
like, oh, it's just one slice of bread. Oh, it's just one sausage.
Mm-hmm.
But it adds
It
up,
definitely adds
right?
up. Definitely adds up.
Yeah. So at what point, did you say you need to make changes, or was it something that triggered you to say, okay, you got to get a little bit healthy, you got to get some of that weight off of you?
The crazy part was, um, even at that point, I didn't really think I was that big. You know what I'm saying? And so it
Hmm.
was kind of a mental thing for me. So a good friend of mine, Lonzo Wright Jr., who's in Savannah, runs Beast Mode.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm familiar with
yeah,
him.
one of my best friends. We grew up together. And he came home one day and he said, "Hey man, let's go work out." And so I was like, "Okay." And again, I'm just going to work out. So he took me to this local gym here, and when I got in there, we did a class. I did a class, and I'm like, "Okay, so you're not gonna work out with me?" And he was like, "No, this is for you. I want you to do this." And so what he did was at the end of this class, there was a prayer, and he took the microphone and said and gave a speech in the gym. So he's like, "Hey, this is my best friend, my brother. He's this, and he's a really good guy, but I want to see him live. And so this is what I'm going to do. I want y'all to keep on him, keep him accountable, and I'm gonna help him by taking care of his first couple of months so he can get started on a healthier lifestyle." And so what was initially brought to me as a let's go work out and get into it, I took as a challenge versus a lifestyle change. Just because as friends, me and him would battle all the time. And it's like, my thing was, you ain't gonna do me like that in front of all these people. But in actuality, whatever his thought process was worked. Because he knew that I probably was going to be competitive about it until I got into it and saw the benefits of it. And that's how I really really got started into doing it. But I got to working out, and I got to a point that I was like, hey, I'm enjoying it, and I finally saw some weight fall off. And when it did, I put on a shirt one time, and I was like, okay, now let me buy the shirt this size, so I can have another goal. So that's how it all kind of just it picked up. But to initially say how I got started with it or started working out myself and changing, it was at that moment. I was in 2016 maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
Wow. You know what? That's a great brotherly love
Oh
moment.
yeah. Oh yeah.
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 That he identified, you know what? I want my friend life could be shortened because of the weight that's on his body,
Hmm.
and I want my friend to live.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's what I love about my friend circle. That's another podcast. We'll get into that later, but I got a good support system of friends, and when I started my journey, it wasn't just me. It was a few of us, and we all stuck together in it. So, yeah, yeah. So that's how I got started initially.
And I remember, so when I met you, I thought you had already looked great, right? But I didn't realize that you were heavier until one day you had brought some suits
Mhm.
to the gym
Mhm.
and you were trying to give them away. And you were like, I don't fit these anymore. And I was like, you used to wear this suit?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't believe
I
it.
cleaned out my closet, and I got rid of. I know I got rid of 5 trash bags, full of clothes. And anybody knows me know I like to buy clothes even when I don't need them. And so when I buy them, I buy a lot. And it's crazy, like the type of stuff that I had. And I would just look at this stuff and I put it on. I have one jacket in there now that I keep as a reminder. Of whenever I'm feeling, a certain type of way, I feel like I may be going in another direction. I go put that jacket on and say, okay, this is what we're not going to go back to, and that
Yeah.
that cranks the motivation right back up times 10.
Yeah, I think that's really great that you do that
Hmm.
to remind yourself of how far you have
No
come
doubt,
and where you don't want to go back.
most definitely. And I'm not knocking
Yeah.
anybody that's there. I just know that I've been in that struggle and it's tough, to understand or know that you want to do something. And for some people, you have to get that urge to do it. But yeah, I just know that that being there, I'm still at that side to this side. I'm still the same person, but I just, I definitely don't want to get back to the unhealthy ways of life. So I make sure that I remind myself of
When I've looked at some of your Facebook pictures and you always smile.
that.
But it's something about when I see your pictures now. It's like a little extra swag on it. When you got that jacket on and you like, check me out.
Hey, it's a good feeling. It's like quick story, very quick.
Go
I was
ahead. No, you don't have to make it quick.
I remember I was ironing this shirt in Macy's. It was a polo shirt with the little bear on it, and I just wanted these shirts, and I told myself I wouldn't buy another one until I can go to I call it the little people section of the mall. So I
Mm-hmm.
said I'm not gonna buy another shirt until I can go over there. So I kept ironing the shirt, and one day I kept picking it up, and a good friend of mine that works at Macy's, he said, hey man, he said every time you come in here, you pick that shirt up. He said, so why don't you get it? And I was like, well, I said, I gotta go. And I didn't explain to him what it was. I gotta go. And I said, but I don't know yet. He was like, well, just go try it on. So I got in there and finally went in there and I tried it on. And when I tried it on, I remember like just yelling, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, because it was an extra large shirt. And that's the first time I wore extra large since I was maybe a senior in high school. And like I said, I'm 43 years
Yeah.
old. And I mean, I was maybe 39 at the time. And so to
Yeah.
be able to do that was such an accomplishment for me. So I was like, okay, now at that point, now I made the lady of the house mad because then I started going back. I'm going to buy everything in there now, So that was just a great moment for me to know that I can finally get to that point where I can wear a shirt and on the regular people side of it, if that makes sense. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying in my head. So.
Yeah. So before you had to buy from like the big and tall
Hmm.
section.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And like I said,
Yeah.
and
So
that
that's why you.
wasn't nothing wrong with that, but it was just one of those things where as I started to progress, I was like, hey, I know I can get to this. And so when I was able to do that, oh my God, It's been so
Yeah.
much fun to just see that, but just to know and just you become much more confident when you become more confident in yourself. It makes a big difference, not just in the way you look, but in everything, mental space, all of that. You know what I'm saying? So all of that plays a part. So
Yeah. And I think that makes us feel good, especially when you know you're working on losing weight and you're able to go and try something on, and it's a size that you, like you said, you hadn't been in
hmm
since you were a teenager, and to now be able to fit into it.
yeah,
You probably were in the mirror
I,
styling, profiling.
I almost wore it out tomorrow. I almost wore it out tomorrow. I almost wore it out tomorrow.
Yeah.
But no, that it's just like you said, and it's I've always tried to smile and everything and understand it's a silver lining,
Hmm.
but that the confidence and knowing that it's gonna be okay is even more reason to pop your collar every now and then and just know that you
Yeah.
got it. So
Yeah. I think that's so I think that's so good that you were able to experience that in that moment, because had that gentleman not stopped you, right,
hmm
you probably would have still just went in there, looked at it,
hmm
and walked away.
and walked away from
And yeah. Um, so one thing that has started to come up, well, not has started, but has come up a lot in the podcast is faith,
it.
right? So I want to know, where does faith or relationship with God fit into your life?
It's a facet that honestly, without it, it wouldn't be this point. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, that's where my strength comes from, and I know that without His grace and mercy, I couldn't do any of this. You know what I'm saying? Even through the journey that I've been through right now, there's been some really high highs and some really low lows as well. As people may not know, I was hospitalized for bleeding ulcers, and so to a point where my hemoglobin was at point 0.4, and
Oh, wow.
yeah, so to not have faith in God and to pull that journey through, I could have, and I was ignoring it. You know how us men do. We don't want to go see a doctor. We don't want to talk to nobody. I thought it was just a headache.
Hmm.
And what inevitably could have been something that could have ended my life. So, faith is so important. You gotta, for me, to incorporate God at some point in every point in my day.
Hmm.
And do I have moments that I may not be as in tune as I should, but with that being said, that's the humanistic side, but I would quickly get back to my faithful thoughts and knowing that without him it's just yes, so it all fits.
Yeah. Well, I'm so happy to know that you first listen to your body. Even if you ignored it for a little bit, you listened to your body, you went to the hospital, you got the care you needed, and now you're better.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
um what do you think caused the ulcer? Did they?
Stress,
Mm.
and it was at the time with working and running like crazy, and again just not taking care of my body, you know
Hmm.
just running like crazy, but I was able to. I really believe in since we're speaking faith, that was him saying, okay, you won't sit down, I'm gonna sit you down.
Hmm.
So here, take this with you. I'm gonna put you down for about a week and make you understand how important it is to take care of yourself. And that was a really, really important lesson that I learned in that. So I do take the time now to make sure, even if it's just say, hey, I'm gonna take 2 or 3 days just to kind of rest and get myself back together. But like I said, he has his way of telling you what he wants you to do, whether when you listen to him and when you don't. So when you
Yeah.
don't, he'll do something to you to say, okay, since you wouldn't take it this way, I'm gonna give it to you this way. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think you brought up a really good point, because sometimes when you are working on a goal, whether it's if you're an entrepreneur, if you're in school, or if it's just self improvement, sometimes we get into this grind motion, right? We gotta grind, we gotta hustle, we gotta
mm-hmm,
go get it, right?
mm-hmm.
And there's nothing wrong with doing that, but also in between the grind, the hustle, and go get it, you have to rest.
Gotta rest.
Okay. So I think it's important, instead of saying, oh, you grinding 24/7, maybe out of your day, you give it 100+% um, a certain amount of hours during the day. And then the other part of that day, you give it 100+% I don't know why I can't say percent to rest.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think I talked to somebody else on the podcast. I think it was Tiffany. Sometimes rest is not always sleeping.
Yeah. Yes, it's true.
Sometimes you just have to rest your mind.
That's it. Sit down, put yourself in a situation where you can meditate and just reflect sometimes. Sometimes it's not about the physical of it all, because you can be physically ready for anything, but if your mental's not together, then all of
Yeah.
that means nothing. It's pushed out the door because you're not focused on it, and it's not putting you in a position that you can be successful in. Mm-hmm.
Sometimes when you get that mental rest,
Mm-hmm.
that gives that time that you're like, not consumed with everything. You'll be amazed at the thoughts
Mm-hmm.
that come to mind that can help, maybe, to make the grind easier.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Most of my fun time meditating, I go to the Y and sit in the steam room and
Mm-hmm.
just sit there. You know what I mean? And I'm getting a good sweat, but at the same time, reflecting and a couple of prayers and meditation some days, and just sitting there, and just getting that opportunity to say, okay, here's my clear space for a second. You know what I'm saying? Let me understand what's going on here right now. And that's just the way I unwind sometimes.
How often do you use the sauna?
I try to do it once a week, at least once a week now. But when my schedule opens up, I'm at least 2 or 3 times a week.
Okay.
I'll go in there.
And do you feel like using a sauna is important for weight loss? Because I've heard a few people talk about using saunas and some of the benefits that it offers.
Yeah, I think it's a good I think it's a good thing to use. Definitely with losing weight because it gives you the sweat. But I think it's even better when you apply it after or before a workout because it helps loosen up the muscles as well. And after a good workout, just sitting in there, it helps that tension release a little bit. You know what I'm saying? From a strenuous, especially if you're doing strength training. I think that gives you a good kind of a comfortable loosen up, and then a good after I get out of it, get a good stretch in. I think it's definitely something that you would use, with weight loss, but incorporating it, what I'm saying, with maybe getting in there and doing some cardio and stuff like that. There are some people that believe that you can just sit in a sauna and that's how that works. Now, and it can, but it depends on how you're dieting as well. But I would say when you're going through that, it'll definitely soothe the tension from a good, cardio, a good run, a good, strength training or something like that. So, yeah, so I am
Okay.
saying that it's a good opportunity to use while you're going through that weight loss journey. It will help, kind of enhance it, but using it before or after will even make it more efficient.
Okay. Um, you mentioned diet just a moment ago.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know, what are some dietary changes you made?
Yeah, well, like you said, I know we talk vegan, and you've had and your journey with that. When I first started, of course, I ate everything. I didn't, it wasn't anything that I didn't eat. So when I first started, I cut out pork and beef. Yeah, pork and beef, and so I still to this day don't eat pork or beef. Then after a couple of years of that, I went and I cut out everything and went vegetarian. And so when I did that, really when I went vegetarian is when I saw a lot more of the weight, come off. And with that is that I had to eat a lot more, especially when it was just mostly vegetables and things of that nature. But it was actually that's when I really saw a big change in losing weight. And so once I got to my target weight, I definitely had to add some type of proteins back into my diet. But other than that, I mean, those are the dietary things. Sugar, I had to cut out. I used to love to put sugar in everything, coffee, all of those things. Stop drinking, using milk and using almond milk. and things of that nature. So there's a lot of things that I changed along the way in order to do that and to continue the weight loss as well. Started eating more berries, things of that nature. Instead of snacking on chocolate, snack on some berries or something like that, something that wasn't as bad. So.
Right. So when you were making those changes, I know your kids were younger. Did you change their diet as well?
Well, I did. Now my little one was a feisty one, so it's certain things he still thinks salad is grass, but he just that's what he said. That tastes like grass. Tastes like grass. So now they did change it with me. It's crazy because my daughter and my older son, when I went vegetarian, we did it all together. You know what I'm saying? And my wife did it too for a little while. So I kind of sprung it on him one day. I came home. I was like, hey, I'm not eating any meat anymore. So and it's like, wow, okay, how are we gonna do that? And I said, I don't know. We're just gonna do it. And so I started doing. Of course, I didn't introduce them right into it the way I did it, but once they got into it, everybody started doing it. It became kind of a lifestyle. Then it became fun because we made a challenge. Anywhere we went, we decided, okay, let's go to if we go to Chop House, now we got to figure out what we're gonna eat. So that's what made it fun. What do we eat? How do you do that? Making sure they don't cook it in this or do that. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. I think that's cool. And the fact that everybody was excited to do it. When you make something exciting, it I think you are able to do it a little bit longer versus you coming home and saying nobody's eating meat in this house and
Yeah. I knew that wasn't
rather
gonna work for not here, not right then, because it's like the way that I did it. I just came home and I was like, "Hey, I'm not doing it." And it was literally December 1st, and it's 24 days away from Christmas. You know what I'm saying? So they tuned up. They want to eat big for Christmas, and I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do it. I said I was gonna give myself 24 days, and so I was gonna eat good on Christmas Day is what I said I was gonna do. And I ended up eating I think I ate some turkey or something that day. And when I did, it made me sick, and I went back and I went vegetarian for like 2 years. And I was like, maybe I was just doing it to see if I could do it, but it turned into a wonderful lifestyle change.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I'm really good. I'm really happy to hear that was how, you were able to incorporate your changes also in, your family's a lifestyle as well. Was there any big major key that has really helped you get from where you were then to now?
Just adding a lot of exercise to my everyday regimen, but initially really just being able to that diet. People don't understand what a diet can do. You working out is all well and fine, but it's really only 20% of weight loss. Now it's a major key to weight loss, but it's really not. You got to change. If you got to change what you do at the table, and that's the biggest factor. You can go and work out and leave and go somewhere and have one meal and it just took your whole workout away. So that's why I tell people all the time and it's a struggle for everybody. It's even a struggle for me sometimes. It's just to understand, like, okay, I got to do this. Like I'm counting calories this way and that way, but then you see something you really want. So basically, changing your habits at the table are going to be the most key. Once you do that, I think at that point you're mentally prepared to handle the physical side of it. Because then the mental will match up with what you got to do physically, and that's mentally you got to eat right. So
Yeah.
now once you're eating right, you can now phase into the physical part because now all of that goes together. And then I think your percentages change a little bit. You got to up your workouts and things of that nature. So,
Okay. Yeah, so you can't do the same workouts that you did in the beginning because now your body is a little fitter, so you have to challenge your body a little bit more.
Most definitely. You
right?
got to change up your routine. Because once your body you get used to something, you're really at that point just doing it for sport. You know what I mean? You got to change it up. because you got to shock your body into to doing something different, and you'll see changes. That's another thing people don't do. I'm not saying repetitiveness won't get it, because yes, you want to gain the muscle memory and things of that nature as well. But changing it up makes the body react and do things differently. So it makes it work a different type.
I'll say this. So I had a chance to work out with you, and I want to talk to you about personal training in a minute.
Okay.
I had a chance to work out with you at the end of last year.
Right.
And so when I went in, I think I picked up like the 8 pounds,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
8-pound weights. And you were like, all right, I'm going to let you use that now, but you're going to have to go to the 10.
Mm-hmm.
And so at home, I was using 5s. After I worked out with you, I went and I bought some 8 pounds and I bought some 10s,
Mm-hmm.
right? I hadn't got the 15s yet.
Okay.
I hardly ever pick up the 8s.
Okay.
I
Challenge
now
yourself.
use the 10s.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I really appreciated you, one, allowing me to use the 8s in the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
but then challenging me to get the 10s,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And yeah, so you definitely have to challenge yourself. You can't do the same old thing if you want to get greater results.
Right. And we tend to sometimes doubt ourselves, and I'm the same one. Fear for everything, and it's like we think, well, it's heavier, but you haven't tried it yet. You know what I'm saying? If you try it, if you never try it, you're gonna never get used to it, and then you're gonna always forever think or wonder, could I have? You know what I'm saying? And that's just not a gym lesson. That's a life lesson. You know what I'm saying? It's just you'll never know. And again, I'm preaching to the choir here. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm listening to myself. You gotta believe in the fact that you can, and know that I can take more. I can do it. You know, so that's just my approach. So I remember coming to the gym and picking up 10s, and it's like, okay, I kept doing those, and now I pick 15s, and then 20s, and then, so forth and so on. So you have to challenge yourself, because you'll never move up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely agree with you. And like you said, that's not just in the gym, that's in all aspects of your life.
Right.
Yeah. So what made you go from gym member to now personal trainer?
So the story behind that, I was working the second job, and I hated the second job. And the gym we were working out at, I ended up helping out a little bit. And so the opportunity was given to me to say, hey, if you have a good rapport with people, how about, since you help me, just why don't you try it yourself? And I said, okay, why not? And when I did, what I never thought I would have the nerve to do is get in front of people and tell them how to work out. I never thought that I would do that. It became something I really love. So that opportunity kind of opened up a door for something that people say you have a passion for things sometimes. I never had a passion for training. I've always had a passion for helping people. And so it helped urge that passion into training. And so, I was like, wow, I can help people by doing this and holding myself accountable. So this is where, it all kind of took off. And it's like, okay, let's go. And ever since then, it's been an uphill blessing.
I want to tell you something that's so funny, because I remember when you switched over to training. So I think class started at 5:00, right? And you had a board and you had all the exercises. If somebody was late,
Yeah.
you had them to run, or you had some exercise.
Perfect.
In the beginning, people were mad about that. But you know what? They might have been mad initially, but after that, they were like, no, I gotta get in here, get dressed, and be ready. And that showed them to be ready to be accountable to themselves.
That's it.
You know,
That's it.
yeah, not, not to fear the workout, the extra workout they may have to do, but to show up and be accountable to themselves, and be on time.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
And get in here because we holding up other people from getting to what they got to do. Because we got to
Yeah,
wait.
I remember that, and I don't think I ever had to do any of those.
It only took one time. Now I wasn't a sergeant. Now if you had a good excuse, you pick up the kids or something like that. But
Yeah,
if you just strolling in here, no, you're gonna go on and get these. Yeah.
yeah, but like I said, yeah, it might have made them upset in the moment, but it was never a true like anger. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Because one thing about all of the people that worked out at the gym with us is I felt like we were all
Oh,
family.
no doubt.
There was there was so much love there. I mean, that's all I can say is it was like being with your favorite cousins.
Mm-hmm.
So there was no true anger, but they sure did get in there on time and be
Oh
dressed.
yeah. Ready to go. Ready to go.
Yeah. Yeah, so tell me what type of training? I already know a little bit, but tell the audience what type of training do you offer now?
So, what the way that I train is, I mix heart with hit training, strength training, and a little bit of cardio that goes along with that. So, I like to see when people can lose, but yet still, build within keeping their frames. If that makes sense. So when you're losing the weight, when you cardio yourself to death, you kind of get a skinny look or whatever the case may be, and that's cool. But you want to make sure you're toning yourself as well, so that when you come down to your skin and you becoming smaller, you don't have that excess. So when you're building, you can build that muscle back up, so it kind of tones as well as while you're losing too. So we do a lot of boxing, we do a lot of hit training, we do definitely strength training. Everything we do is pretty much is weighted, or we're definitely going to go body weight, but weighted squats, or weighted anything that we do. So all of that kind of coexists together to kind of do a total body workout.
Okay. Um, if you had to give some advice to someone, especially men, because I think a lot of times you hear women talk about weight loss
Mm-hmm.
and talking about, but I don't hear a lot of men talk about weight loss, right? I hear them talk about getting jacked,
Mm-hmm.
like pumping the iron. But if you got somebody out there and they're like, you know what, I know I need to lose some weight,
Mm-hmm.
what kind of advice, how would you inspire that person in this moment? What would you say to them?
What I say to them is you 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 have to first thing I say to a client that comes in the door. Everybody has a day one. You know what I'm saying? Everybody has a day one. And what that means is it's the first day that you did something. It doesn't matter what that something is. It's the first day that you drove your car. It's the first day that you went to school. It's the first day that you always have a first day. What are you going to do with your first day? You want to become this, but we can't continue to say why we can't do it. Because if you do, then guess what? You just let another day go by. So the advice that I give them is start your day one. That's the only way you're going to get to it. If you never start with your day one, then there's no progress. You're going to forever say, I'll do it next week. I'll do it next week. You ever talk to somebody and be like, girl, when the next time you going to the gym? I'm going to go next week. At the end of the day, it's like, so what you going to do? Clients call me and say, well, when can I start? Tonight. Tonight. Why? Well, why? What are we waiting on? Like, we want to get somewhere, and until we begin to start, and that's something that I preach because I know it's something that I have to keep within myself as well. So, in order for me to be accountable or hold other people accountable, I have to try to be accountable for myself as well. So, that's why I always say you gotta have you. Everybody has a day one. What are you gonna do? Like, when are you gonna start? Tomorrow may be too late. So let's get that. That's the advice that I would give that person. And I do understand that it's a process, but with that process, still goes back to what's your day one. What
Yeah.
do you want your day one to look like? And so everybody, I tell them also that your day one is not going to be, may not be a glorious one. You know, it's one that you may sit back and be like, man, that was hard. But then day two has to come, you know, so you got to continue to be consistent. So, you know, once you get started and make up in your mind that you have the confidence and the will to do it, then that's just the most important thing to do. But that's my approach when people come and talk to me and ask me, you know, what can I say? And the best advice I can give them is you gotta have a day one. You gotta start. You know, once you start, everything else will fall into place. But you gotta start.
I think that is really great advice, Derrick. And I think you can apply that in so many areas of your life,
Mm-hmm.
not just with weight loss. If you're going to school, if you're starting a business, everybody has to have a day one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And as you continue on your journey, you'll learn things that what doesn't work for you,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
At least you tried it.
Most
You
definitely.
tried this
Yep.
and you're like, okay, well that doesn't work for me. Now I need to, revamp my plan. Don't start your plan over. Just
Just
revamp and say,
revamp it.
okay, that don't work. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because if you keep creating new plans, you're going to spend so much time
Yeah.
creating that plan. So just like, okay, that don't work for me. I'll add this one thing in, see if that works for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Just
I
adding
think
to
that's
it
really
and
great
yeah,
advice.
adding to it and taking it away. You know, if
Yeah.
you come that first day and you know it gets started, and now you're in a week. It's like, okay, I want to work out, but I like this style of working out. You know what I'm saying? Now you know what you can apply yourself more to. So it's just a build up. But if you never start, you'll
Yeah.
never know.
Yeah. So, Derrick, I want you to do me a favor. I
Mm-hmm.
want you to close your eyes and I want you to have a moment to dream big.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want you to think about how it will be done,
Mm-hmm.
when it's going to be done,
Mm-hmm.
but I want you to dream.
Okay.
What is something that you dream for your business?
What I ultimately, my biggest dream in this is to have a complex where we create fitness, community, and empowerment in one place. And, you know, where you can come in and you can get physically fit with state of the art machines, um, um, fitness rooms, you know, different types of rooms, different types of trainers, different types of just to fit all body types. A place where you can get great food within this same place. Great food as in if you work out, you can get your smoothies, you can get your salads, you can get, you know, just all healthy alternative stuff in one area there. Um, Offer different agriculture things like outside where you can bring the kids in and show them how to plant their own vegetables, you know, do
Mm-hmm.
things of that nature. Um, I'll honestly get into, you know, I'm not going to say farming, but, you know, being able to show them how to live off land,
The food they grow?
food that they grow, you know, and
Yeah.
then, you know, then there was another side of that, learning centers. So that, you know, all of that just goes together. I think if you once you get people you can apply all of this in one place, it gives them a refuge, a place to go when it's, you know, like, okay, I want to work out and then I want to be a part of the community. We do all that right here. You know what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
know, we can help these kids learn a different facet of life versus, you know, street life and, you know, teach them something that they can do that's gonna possibly grow them and grow their minds into something different, you know. And just introduce them to agriculture. If you never introduce them, then they never have an opportunity. But ultimately, you know, that's what I want. A complex that, and it allows us to jobs, to supply our community, and be able to just do all of that. So it fits everything into one place of what my ultimate goal is. When I tell you before, is helping people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
I I can't wait until your dream comes true.
hey, me too. I'm excited. That's something that I am really wanting to do. I think it's needed.
Yeah, and what you are dreaming about is something that is for the whole family.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think family is so important, whether it be by blood or from love from the heart. Family is important.
Most definitely. Most definitely.
Mm-hmm.
It just promotes
Yeah.
togetherness. It's just something that we're missing. So, so that big dream is bigger than just, you know, I guess you say finance or anything of that nature. I want to see it all just take place and a bigger picture be drawn than it to be just all about, the fitness side of it. Because I think what people miss in all of that is mental. It's mental. If you don't,
Mm-hmm.
let's put everybody in a good place so they can be mentally on board. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Yeah. Mental fitness is just as important, if not more important, than physical
no
fitness.
doubt it is.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt.
Because you have to have a healthy mind,
Mm-hmm.
because we already know that when you're trying to become physically fit, you're going to have those temptations, those things
Mm-hmm.
that you were, eating in the past, right? That helped you to get to the weight that you didn't want to
Mm-hmm.
be. So you're already having to fight that off. But when you're mentally healthy, you can tell yourself, you know what, I deserve this,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and not only do I deserve this, but my friends and my family deserve this,
Mm-hmm.
because you want to be around them just like your friend Alonso did for you. He
Mm-hmm.
said, "Hey man, I want you to be here."
Yeah.
So, so yeah, I definitely agree. I could go on and on, but mental fitness is definitely important.
Most definitely. It is. It is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So before we wrap up, is there anything that we didn't cover that you want to the listeners to know about, your weight loss journey?
Um, a quick story. My buddy,
Go ahead.
my buddy Zoe. I never forget. I was 2 months in to working out and training and getting myself together, and I remember calling him. I said, "Man, this ain't working, bro. Like, I'm busting my butt and I ain't losing no weight." And so he sends me a message back. I mean, he tells me, he said, "Hey man, give me a few minutes and I'm gonna send you a workout to your inbox." And he said, "I want you to try this, see if this works for you." And I said, "Okay."
Mm-hmm.
So I waited. I'm sitting by my phone, holding my phone, waiting for it to go off. So about 30 minutes went by, and I finally see this alert pop across my phone. So I'm rushing to get to my phone to see what he said. And when I got to the phone, what he sent to me in all caps was the word patience. And
Mm.
I remember looking at the phone in my mind, I was going off like, no, you did not just send me that. And I just asked you, what I'm saying, how do I do this? Like, bro, I'm about to give up. And I texted him back. I was like, what? And he called me and said, bro, he said, what it took for you to get to where you are is going to take just that much plus determination to get it off. So he was like, you ain't going to fall off overnight, bro. He said, I don't know no other way to tell you. So he was like, I can tell you these fallacies or whatever you think you want to hear. He said, but it wouldn't be the truth. So he's like, so truth of the matter is you got to be patient and persistent. You got to do what you got to do. So with that being said, he said, get off the phone with me and go to the gym. And so, yeah.
Yeah.
So
That was great advice.
yeah. I was so mad when he said, oh, what? You can't be serious. But now
Yeah.
that's I tell that story all the time, especially to my clients. You got to have a day one, and you got to be patient. You got to be patient.
Yeah.
You gotta be patient. But when he told me that, I was so mad.
So not only did he make you wait, so you're like sitting by your
Yes.
phone, right? And you're like, oh, it's a miracle. It's a miracle workout. He's
Yeah.
about to send me and
Mm-hmm.
I'm about to do it. And all of this is going to fall off. And then you had to sit there. You had to be patient
Patient to
to
wait on
wait
it.
on. And then when you got it and it said patience, you're like, what in the world?
I'm like, man, if I could have jumped through the phone, I would have what? Yeah, you gotta be kidding me. No, you did not send me that. But it's some of the best advice that I've ever gotten. some of the best classes I've ever gotten. I mean, when and as soon as I got there and I got to working harder, I saw it 10 pounds, 10 pounds, 10 pounds. And I was like, okay. And so now I'm sending them pictures and emailing them and like, listen, man, look, I told you, just keep working. You know, that's it. Be patient. You got it. So
Yeah. Well, that's so awesome. I'm glad you have great people in your life like Alonzo to be your friend and also help to remind you of things like
oh
patience.
yeah, most definitely, most definitely.
Yeah. So, listen, I want you to share how folks can get in contact with you. So Derrick is in Augusta, Georgia, so I'm sure you will help people, you know, in Augusta, Hephzibah, and all the surrounding areas. Tell them how they can get in contact with you. What's your social media?
On Facebook, I am at Trust the Process, TrustDaProcess. So Trust the Process, DA. On
Okay.
Facebook and on Instagram is TDP Fitness 706. So yeah, please just check that out. I'm always posting. You can look on my personal Facebook page at Derrick Pinkney too. I post there. You see some of the workouts, some of the days that we have, and things of that nature. So if you want to get in contact with me, my number is there. Just inbox me or whatever the case may be, and we can get your consultation and get you started.
Nice. Derrick, I just want to thank you so much for coming on the
And
podcast.
thank you for having me.
And you're so welcome. And I can't wait until you have that center
Oh yeah.
that you want, and you could come back and share with us because this podcast is not going anywhere.
And I'm telling you, when we're gonna take the podcast to this complex and walk around, just let everybody know.
Listen, listen, I'm ready for
Let's
it.
go. I'm ready. You know I'm
I'm
ready.
ready.
Yes, ma'am. I'm ready.
Yes. So this has been another great conversation at the table with D Monique. If you would like to come on and have a conversation with me, just send me a message on Instagram or Facebook. You can find me at the table with D Monique. If you want to suggest a snack, because y'all know I like snacks. I ate a little healthy because Derrick was on here. But now, Derrick, let me just tell you, with these snacks, I do tell people portion control is important.
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Portion control is important.
So, yes, we have fun with the snack time, but I always encourage people, including myself, to eat a serving and not the whole bag.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Moderation is the key.
Yeah. Yes. So again, send me a message on Facebook, Instagram, at the table with D Monique. Until next time, be blessed and peace.
Thank you for listening to At the Table with D Monique podcast. Join us next week for a new episode.